Welcome in to the Chat 10 Sports Made Feed podcast. Today is a fun one. I got two of my new favorite people. We have Cam Rogers from the Bleav Podcast Network. Cam has the rights to the Tiger Woods Pod. Sweet podcast name. That guy's killing it. He is pumping out content like crazy this week. It was a fantastic Masters. You can call Sunday boring, but I thought Thursday through Saturday was fantastic. Shout out to Hideki, that guy, well-deserved, great guy, fantastic finish for him. Really just held his own, held strong throughout the entire Sunday. Got one of my favorite friends here in Chattanooga, Greg Larnerd from ESPN 1051. Greg does the lunchtime show, noon to 2 every day, so you can find him there. We're talking a little bit of Vandy, Tennessee baseball. We got some fun stories about Mookie Betts. Go into a little bit of NL East talk. Actually, we go into a lot of NL East talk. Segues into some fun stories both of us have. So, good pod all around. It was a good weekend, Masters weekend. Finishes off probably the best weekend sports in my personal opinion when you got Final Four, Natty, opening day, Masters week. It was fantastic. A little left to be desired for a national championship and a little left desired on a Masters Sunday, but still both good. Don't get me wrong. Final Four, awesome. Zags, UCLA, one of the best games ever. Top 15, easy. But really good news today for the city of Nashville, and really good news for HBCUs. I was really pleased with the Eddie George hiring. And I know it's like another thing where some guy that doesn't have any experience gets some clout and gets a job. But in the case for Dion and in the case for Eddie, I think it's the right moves. I really do. I think they made a really great move. It's the first hire for that new AD at Tennessee State. Eddie's going to put together a really good staff. I think that it sounds like Hugh Jackson could be an offensive coordinator. That would be a great hire. They really have a lot backing them. The city of Nashville is such a great sell. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that don't like Nashville. But to a 18-year-old kid, downtown Nashville, sweet gig. That's pretty great for Eddie. And Eddie's giving up a lot. If you've not kept up with Eddie, outside of small stories, we all know what he's contributed to what sounds like Derrick Henry's career, because he had a heart-to-heart with Derrick maybe 2 or 3 times to really get into him and be like, hey, man, you can be great. Here's what you need to do. Eddie has a lot of clout in that city with that Titans team, and he's really made a name for himself, and he's everywhere. It sounds like he's done well in business, and multiple times, throughout Ohio State career, he did wonderful things there. We all know like his football side, but it sounds like he's doing well outside of that. So Eddie's going to be giving up a lot to take on a head coaching job. That's not terrible. I think former coach was 60-69 with them. So you're not walking into a great program, recent 3-year extension, whatever, they went like 7-5. Seemed like the right move at the time. And you're like, okay, yeah, but it just never turned it around. I think Eddie can do some really good things because he's going to be able to get names for coaching positions. And with these names, it seems like Dion's doing okay down at Jackson State. It's, he's 4-3. That's somebody you have to comp him with. It's somebody you have to comp Eddie with. Is, hey, former football player, super talented, but doesn't have any head coaching experience. Big personality, to a different extent than Dion, but Eddie's got a big personality in the fact that people really respect the guy. He's outgoing. He's a good-looking guy. He's always going to be kind of an alpha in a room. And I think he's going to be able to get coaches. I think he's going to be able to surround himself with a great staff. So I think this process is going to be pretty smooth sailing for him in a lot of ways, from being able to pick up things quickly because he's going to surround himself with the right people. And he's obviously going to be a face. He's going to be great for recruiting. And if he gets guys like Hugh Jackson, if he gets guys like Brendan Fisher, Jeff Fisher's son from Auburn, going to be a great staff. And position coaches will want to come be there. He's going to give people shots. And if you can recruit there and do some big things, and especially in this time, especially where we are as a country right now and the push for HBCUs, hey, why not do it? This is the best time for any. I mean, we all know some of these programs have never been given the money that some of these others have, and they don't generate the revenue, and that's okay. But it's just a time where the narrative wants to change with that. Dion, Eddie, you're probably going to see some more kids also go to HBCUs that haven't before. Maybe some bigger names. You're seeing a couple here and there already. And if Eddie George is there, and kids know Eddie, I mean, you're still kind of on that back end of knowing who Eddie is, I think, with the younger generation. But thank the Lord for YouTube. Everybody watches YouTube, especially younger kids, especially I think I had my niece, they were watching YouTube at like 2 years old. So the 2-year-old to 18-year-old demographic loves them some YouTube. So it's going to be one of those things they're going to be able to look back and watch highlights and be like, oh, wow, this guy was amazing. He was incredible throughout college and clearly in the NFL. And he's a legend in that town. So fantastic hire for them. The push for these HBCU, if I could talk this morning, these push for these HBCU programs that the country kind of wants. Like, it really seems like that. And there's a lot of people backing this push. So good for them, man. Tennessee State, great hire. Good for the city of Nashville to make that even more of a football place, more of a melting pot. I mean, we all know what Vandy is. Yes, I know. They beat Tennessee. Cool. The water is wet. Great. Everybody's beating Tennessee. But it seems like Nashville melting pot for programs. I mean, MTSU's had their little stints. Vandy, has had a little run here and there of some. When Franklin was there, it was fine. Really kind of brought that out of the water. But mostly it's a lot of fan bases. Tennessee, Ole Miss, living there, it's incredible to see how many fan bases were. It's SEC represented to the max. And now with all the transplants moving in, it seems like there's just going to be so many college fan bases represented in that city. What if Tennessee State's the next one? Just for fun. Hop on a train. Why not? There's no great program in Nashville right now. MTSU wasn't very good. Vandy's not very good. TSU could be pretty good. So, hey, be something fun for people to do. And once this god-awful thing of a pandemic ends, give us something else to watch. Give us some more content in Nashville. And I'm really happy for Eddie. I saw this from Austin Stanley from A to Z Sports. Think about how much this guy has to give up to do this. He loves it. Business and other ventures don't always fill that void that football does, it seems like, for these guys. So as primetime is, on Barstool podcasts and doing all this other stuff, doing all the TV, being around a football team is just totally different. It comes a little closer to the void of playing. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same. I'm not speaking from experience, but I can just kind of tell from an outsider's perspective. You get a gist on what these guys need, and they all love helping people. I know that these guys have some egos, and, they were the best athletes. They were stars in towns and across the nation. And both these guys are legends. So to that mindset, they still want to help people. They still want to help these young men do great things. And what better place than staying at home in Nashville? You don't have to move. In Eddie's case, go do great things, man. Both these guests are awesome. Looking forward to it. Today's episode is brought to you by our wonderful friends over at Parkway Pourhouse. If you're in Chattanooga or in the Chattanooga area, head on down by the river and go over to Parkway Pourhouse and get you the best wings in Chattanooga. They have the patio outside in the warm months. It's nice to take the pups out there, hang out, enjoy some friend time. Great beer selection, all the drinks, a little down, easy feeling. If you want to get some shrimp tacos, fantastic fish tacos. Head on down to Parkway Pourhouse. Enjoy our friends over there. Watch parties going to be coming back in the fall. Look forward to that. So visit parkwaypourhouse.com or just head on down by the river near the whiskey distillery, and that's where Parkway Pourhouse will be. Cam Rogers, my man, how are you, buddy?
Happy Mother's Sunday, my friend. Wow, that was quite a click by Mr. Hideki Matsuyama. He striped the ball all week, and good for him. First major championship under his belt, and perhaps more to come.
Yeah, hope so, man. And for everybody on here, this is Cam Rogers of the Bleav Podcast Network, host of the Tiger Woods pod. And my man here has been cranking out the content. I told him yesterday, I sent him a text. I was like, dude, this guy is rolling. So, Cam, I appreciate you coming on, dude. So, straight away, what's your initial reaction? What did you think about the whole tournament? Fun, not fun? You know, now we talked a little Sunday slow, but it's all right.
Yeah, I think overall it was a really interesting week of golf because you had Thursday, which was the hard, crusty Augusta National, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really difficult conditions for everybody except for Justin Rose, apparently, who went nuclear on that Thursday.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah. And so then you had Friday, and the conditions were softer, more receptive. You had some scoring, and Rose backed up a little bit, which is expected after you fire a score like that on Thursday. It's hard to really follow up another score like that on the PGA Tour. Yeah, let alone the Masters, right? So it brought in a lot of different possibilities going into the weekend. We're talking about Spieth. We're talking about Patrick Reed and Hideki Matsuyama, obviously. Xander Schauffele, Mr. Major Champion. In the hunt as well. So I thought that was good for the weekend. And then obviously some weather came in, but really didn't affect things too much. In fact, it helped Matsuyama after the delay.
Yeah, dude.
He went off, right?
Yeah.
So you had Sunday, which was basically him just in crucial. It was a moment of maybe some drama towards the end of that back nine there with him going into the water on 15, but obviously he ends up triumphant here.
Yeah, man. I really thought that it was going to be another game of runs, a little basketball game style. I thought, somebody else is going to make a run today. Somebody else is going to really push it. It just never happened. I want to revert back to the weather. How bad do you think that affected, I'll say, the Spieths, Justin Thomas? It seemed like those guys really lost that momentum because I know Justin had to come back and try to make that par putt and missed it. It just seemed like he ran out of steam.
Yeah, a couple of guys sort of fell off today and yesterday. Obviously, JT, one of those people. And you really wouldn't expect that from him, considering, he's like one of the best iron players on the PGA Tour, if not the best, coming off the Players' Championship victory, right? So for somebody as steady as he is, you would not have expected some sort of blow up, right? And so we got that from him. There were some signs from Cam Smith and Tony Finau. I'm sort of looking down the leaderboard here. Brian Harmon was one of the last groups here today as well. So it can really just boil down to major championship pressure. And even for players who have major championships under their belt, still, they want to win the next one. Doesn't mean they don't have pressure on themselves, right? Justin Thomas wants to win this tournament more badly than any other on the PGA Tour, even though he is a major champion, winning obviously the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. So yeah, I think a lot of guys backed up this weekend, and that allowed Matsuyama to really peel ahead. And you had Zalatoris who was floating around, but you almost wondered if he could really get close enough. And then Schauffele collapsed a little bit toward the end. Rose really wasn't a factor. Corey Connors too. No. So it was the Hideki show here on this Sunday. Yeah.
Sure was, man. And we text this morning. And we are like, man, this could be an exciting Sunday. It just didn't wind up that way.
I'm Team Chaos always.
Oh
I'm
man,
always
you
Team
want
Chaos.
that. You want that on the back nine at Augusta, just hoping for it, and it never formulated. But that's okay. I really liked this week, and I thought Justin Rose was going to come out. And I was like, I kind of felt that he had the chance to obviously not post the same kind of score and could run away with it. But I kind of thought it might be a little how Matsuyama went from the back nine yesterday to today through today. I almost knocked my microphone over. But I kind of thought like he might have that run where he just kind of stays consistent, way ahead of everybody. And, you might have some little dramas here and there because, we were kind of waiting. Hopefully Hideki didn't like really screw himself at the end there, but it was, pretty solid, but everybody just kind of rallied through and some of these guys really played out. And Will Zalatoris is Showtime. I can't remember who they said. I think it was John Rahm kind of gave him a little nickname this weekend and all these little stories of him playing with Tony Romo and all that fun stuff. What do you see for this guy's future? Because 24 years old, stud muffin, these guys are loving him already. What do you kind of see for this guy's future?
I love his swing. It's not like an overbearing pass parallel type of swing, which is what you see on the PGA Tour a lot these days. He's got that compact takeaway, but yet still crushes it, which tells you it's not about how far you take it away. It's about impact and creating lag, and that's what he does. John Rahm has a three-quarter takeaway too, and he crushes the ball. So I liked him a lot going into this week, not as like a contender at the Masters, but I thought he would be like the top debutante, right?
Yeah,
This is his first time, right? That's a reasonable bet.
Oh, yeah,
One of the trends I was looking at going into this week was who were the top tee to green players within the last 90 days going into the Masters? Why does that matter? Well, DJ was number 1 when he won in November. Tiger was 10 back in 2019, and Spieth was pretty good when he won too. So Zalatoris was number 11 on that list, right behind Brooks and Spieth and Rahm. So the iron game was there. Tee to green game was there. So on paper, he's a perfect fit for Augusta National. Hit those greens, make a couple putts, and see what happens. And the only thing that was going against him was history. The last time a debutante won at Augusta, you know the name, Fuzzy Zeller, back in 1979. So it's been a minute, right? So for him to get so close is truly remarkable. And he has a top 10 at the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. I mean, that course was a beast way back when Bryson won it. So look, this guy clearly has the game for major championships. When you hit the amount of greens that he does, you're always going to be a factor at majors, at the very least, make the cut. And so this guy has a really bright future, 24 years old. It's truly unbelievable and could be one of the great up-and-coming stars here on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean, he's marketable. He's got the look. We were just talking about him. He's the prototypical guy you see at the golf course.
That's right.
The 27-inch waist, just crushing it.
Tattoos the ball. Yeah.
Tattoos that thing, man. He's what is he? Already got obviously today, finishing second, and then he was 6th. Was that right? The U.S. Open?
Yep, at Winged Foot.
At Winged Foot. And that guy, he's built for it. And what a rise. Because, I think whenever he was ranked, 2006 is what he was like. He was ranked, and he was like, okay, I'm going to move this up. And he played golf with Tony Romo, if you've been following these stories. And it's like, I think Tony was like, watch out, this guy's going to be a star or something. Send a text out. And next thing you know, this guy's moved up, and then gets in the top 50 in this February. And that was back in 2019. So
first solo runner-up finished by a Masters rookie since Dan Pohl in 1982. That's all you need to know. It's been some time.
Man, that has been some time. Because M's first was last year, right?
Yes.
And he finished, what was it? What did he wind up finishing last year?
He was T2, so he was a co-runner.
Yeah, that's right. It's not the solo. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I was just looking at that list and how many people came close. And, it's one of those you look back and like, man, there's been a lot of guys, names that kind of kept in that runner, but it's tough to win. And here's Hideki. He just kind of has that formula. And I know you talked about it a little bit on some different pods this week of that Masters formula. You don't come in there. What's the average? Something like you've played in 10 Masters. If you won it in the last 6 years or something crazy like that, you've had so many under your belt, and it's been impressive. So Hideki, does he fill the formula for Master champion, you think?
He's the formula for a major champion. I have picked him so many times in the
Yeah.
past just for majors in their own right, U.S. Opens, PGA Championships. I've been racing final breaks through, of course, when he's flying under the radar. He was 50-1 leading
Yeah.
into the Masters. You know, as an outright bet, nobody was really talking about him. And let's be real, this is Exhibit A of how volatile golf is. Ready for this? Hideki hasn't had a top 10 on the PGA Tour since November. Of course, you know, and that streak today. Hasn't had
Yep.
a top 10 at a major since 2017. He rolls
Really?
up to Augusta National and wins. It's like, how do you even see that coming? Like, you
Yeah.
can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wild.
That 77 minutes of him playing on his phone made all the difference, supposedly.
Literally. And, you know, that delay, who knows, looking back, could have been a blessing. Really.
It seems like it. And that's what's funny is the guys just, maybe it was just going to chillax for a few minutes. He's like, oh, no, I got a little better game plan in my head. You just kind of hang out. And Tony Finau was getting calls from Tom Brady while Hideki's like out in
Yeah,
his car
low
going on
key.
his phone.
Yeah.
Low key. No big deal. Tony Finau, he's another one that I know a lot of people loved his like top 5 odds and stuff like that this week. And is there anybody that you're just not sure what happened? I mean, Tony, had a really good shot on, I think, the 17th or 18th to kind of get back into some money. But is there anybody that you were kind of disappointed in this weekend?
So I think a top 10 finish now is sort of like a major championship appearance for him. Obviously, he was never really in contention. He had that nice 66 on that Friday, but other than that, he sort of just floated. Didn't really make much of the TV coverage this week, if you will, or this weekend in particular. But overall, I'm still trying to figure out Bryson DeChambeau and Augusta National, Chase. I really am, because I thought this was going to be the week where he was going to finish inside the top 10. I didn't pick him to win, but I thought he'd have a good week. And why is that? Well, he's somebody who has to play a course maybe a few times. He's a scientist, right? And so when you have something like the Masters, they don't have greens books, which means you can't read the undulations on paper. You got to do the actual repetitions on the course. And Bryson, he likes his numbers. He likes to read
Loves
the maps.
His numbers.
And exactly. And if you can't do that, that puts him behind the 8 ball more so than other players who are more feel players, like Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods. Those guys are feel players rather than data guys, right?
Yeah.
So for Bryson, I still don't know why he's trying to overpower this golf course, because I think if he is more strategic off the tee, he's still going to have really short shots into these greens. He's still going to be longer than half the field. So why hit driver on more holes than you need to? And hopefully, I mean, again, I'm a broadcaster. I don't know. He's the one on the PGA Tour and he's a major champion. So what do I know? But I'm just kind of giving my 2 cents here, So I think he needs to go back to the drawing board a bit.
Yeah, because that was one of those things, because it seemed like day 2, he kind of got a little bit better about it. It seemed like he had a little bit better strategy, felt a little more rhythm, and then kind of went back to his old ways. And that's why he
6 over on the weekend.
And absolutely fell off the wagon, man. And I don't know. I just, I'm with you. He was another one that I kind of came in. I was like, maybe this could be a better year for him. But just didn't wind up that way. Man, that's kind of tough, because Bryson, he's kind of got that little bit of that douchebag feel to him, and some people don't like him, but there are things like he's a pretty cool dude, it seems like, every once in a while. So he is fun. This change in body stature. It's a story. He's a guy. He's a story.
He's a content guy.
He's definitely a content guy. Yeah. Speaking of content guy, I mean, after the win last week, Spieth made a little run, got in the top 10. So did you think that was going to happen, or do you think last week was a flash in the pan? Did you kind of see this maybe coming? Because I know you talked about the money part. His odds were terrible coming into the week. But
yeah, I mean, the outright market, you were getting no value on Jordan Spieth going into this week, obviously, after the win at the Valero Texas Open. I picked him for a top 10, so one of my few predictions that were right this week was one of them. So there we go. Another classic Augusta National week for him. Yet another top 5 finish. This is a guy who loves this golf course. You want to talk about a field player? He is that. He's a magician with his wedges. Obviously, can get hot with his putter. Never really sniffed the lead here today, Chase, but still, I think it's just more momentum and more evidence that he is very much back on the PGA Tour, because even before the Valero victory, he was racking up top 15 finishes.
yeah.
And trust me, in the early going, like in February, I was like, okay, let's hold off. Let's get a larger sample size before we make any conclusions about whether he is back. We can now say we have that data. We have that sample size. We can say he is back.
Yeah.
And so yet another solid performance for him. And I expect him to be a factor perhaps at the PGA Championship next month at the Ocean Course, which requires a lot of good short game ability. So.
Oh yeah, and that is his game. Like you said, he was never really felt like he was in it. Xander had some times today where he sniffed it. If he wouldn't have had the blunders early, did you think he had a chance, or do you think that might have been just a little collective? Hideki was kind of cruising, you know.
Once 15 happened for Hideki, I thought maybe there was an opportunity for Schauffele to obviously make a run here. But then 16 happened, he hit it into the water, and that was that. So it was about maybe 15 minutes, Chase, of uncertainty for the Masters. And then we were back to, okay, it's going to be Hideki. And, it's funny because Hideki and Schauffele kind of have this moniker of non-finishers in major championships. And, as the saying goes, something's got to give, right? And one of them's got to win. So Hideki ends up winning. And Schauffele continues to be this guy who just racks up top 10s, top 5s at major championships, but still doesn't win them. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the more you knock on the door, the closer you'll get to eventually winning one. And then you will win one. I mean, every single calendar he's been on PGA, he at least one top 10 finish at a major championship. So it's going to happen. It's, part of that Tony Finau argument, too, because he's going to get there at some point. Jon Rahm, who I picked going into this week, will get there at some point as well. And perhaps he'll be there for the PGA next month. We shall see. But Schauffele, I mean, I wouldn't consider him a choker or anything like that. I feel like there's just too many factors in golf to really consider somebody a choker and a finisher because, everybody has their blemishes, right? And their triumphs. So for Schauffele, it's going to happen for him. Obviously, it wasn't today.
Yeah, and it will come around. The guy's too talented. Like you said, it just winds up happening somehow, some way, and he's somebody else. And this leaderboard, it was a lot of fun because you had some names. And that's what I thought that was one of the best parts about the weekend is the names were up there pretty much throughout the whole weekend, especially Friday through Saturday. So I thought it was a very interesting weekend for the most part. Today was pretty boring, but that's okay. It was a good, if like I told you, I got some good rest last night, so your boy didn't have to take a Sunday nap. So I I missed out on that part, but it was a good Masters, man. Cam, where can the people follow you at, man? Let them know where to subscribe you, wherever else, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Rogers99, and I'll be always updating people about my media appearances. And I'm on SiriusXM Sports Grid TV every single Wednesday, giving my PGA Tour picks. And then, of course, the podcast. Just search Tiger Woods. First one that pops up, that's us. And be sure to subscribe.
Dude, that's awesome. I appreciate you coming on. Golf Talk, I got to have you back on for some majors here, man.
Hell yeah.
We'll do that on, pump you out. And dude, you're killing it and love to see it. My boy Greg, who's also on this podcast, who's going to be coming on, talk a little baseball. He was like, hey man, you got to get this guy on your podcast. So Cam, appreciate you, dog.
Love the man.
Have a good one,
Great
man.
Guy. Thanks, man. Take care.
See you, buddy. Today's episode is also brought to you by our wonderful friends over at Action 247, Tennessee-based Sportsbook. One of the best in the biz right now. We've got a lot of really good gambling picks coming up on the competition problem. Head on over there and subscribe. But we're trying to make you guys some money. I'm going to have some people on this podcast to help you do a little bit of golf gambling, a little bit of NASCAR, NBA. I can't wait for the NBA playoffs. I think these playoff play-in games are going to be really fun to have a sprinkle little cash in on. And obviously baseball. So we want to help you. We want to help you match a little bit of your money. Maybe match you up to $100. All you got to do is slide in those promo codes at Action 247 and type in CTS100. And that is CTS100, abbreviation for Chat 10 Sports 100. And we'll match you up to $100. Let's help you out today. Get you some parlays. We're going to get back to competition problem parlays for you. get you some winners, listen to the pod. Those boys are doing really well. NASCAR, golf, other little things like that. They've been killing it. Those guys find a way. So head on over to Action 247, type in the promo code CTS100. We'll match you up to $100 today. And if you have a gambling problem, 21 or older, obviously, here in Tennessee only, call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. And again, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Greg Larnerd, one of my favorite Chattanooga people right now. This is Greg
Larnerd. Am I
officially
a Chattanooga person now?
Dude, you're here. You are a local voice of Chattanooga radio, ESPN 105.1 The Zone. If you want to listen to this man, he is on noon to 2 every day. How are you, buddy? Is everything good in your world on this wonderful Master Sunday?
Man, everything is good. Speaking of Masters, I got a chance to go out and play 18 myself today, which was great out at the Ottawa Club. Yeah, shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Shot. I usually go for around 100. If I can break 100, I'm happy.
Okay.
I got 101. So I was, basically, for lack of a better term, par for the course.
Yeah, you were your par.
Yes. Yeah, that was basically my par. I had a couple of blow-up holes. I was happy in the back nine, though, that I didn't have any snowmen. I didn't have any double the pars. I was able to kind of keep off that. I was playing bogey to double bogey golf. I think I snuck a par in there somewhere. But, yeah, every once in a while, it's always nice if you can sneak a par in there.
That's all. It always feels better. Just good for the heart. It keeps you coming back. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
And there was one incredible shot hit on the day, and it was not mine. So it is what it is.
Well, shout out to your boy. Who's that you're playing with today?
Yes, Wes Jenkins over of Mermaid Mattress sold me my mattress. Great dude.
Yeah.
And he shot an 85, so he's pretty good. He has played there a time or two. He is a club member. My first time out there, so we'll get better when I get my new back. We'll be better.
Yeah, exactly. Let's 6 to 8 months. He's coming back stronger than ever, baby. Over real quick. What was your over under on curse words today? 18.
Oh, dude. Oh, definitely under. Definitely under. I'm not a huge cursor. I think I let a big F-bomb go at one point. I did not. It wasn't like a terrible shot, but I just didn't hit it the way I wanted it to, and it kind of faded off to the right, and I just yelled, "Fudge!" like as hard as loud as I could.
Attaboy. Yeah. Attaboy. All right.
And the guy we were playing with turned around and he was like, he thought it was Wes, and he was like, no, that was Greg.
Nice. Well,
it just feels good to let one of those go. I mean, I screamed it as loud as I could.
From the depths of all you got. It just feels better.
It does.
Well, speaking of feeling good, how was your Friday? Because Greg Larnerd got to go visit Vanderbilt baseball for the Vandy, Georgia game and got to go see your boy. How was that experience?
Oh, it was great, dude. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool getting an opportunity to go see the number one team in the nation play baseball and getting an opportunity to go and see the son of one of my favorite pitchers growing up, Al Leiter, as a Mets fan. And just seeing Jack on the mound and just getting an opportunity to watch him work, because I had heard about him. He's only a sophomore this year. I'd heard a lot of good things about him. I've seen highlights. He threw a no-hitter earlier this year. Just to get an opportunity to watch his stuff up close and personal. I got a chance to, with the ESPN swag and the credential and whatnot, I got a chance to go basically wherever I wanted, which was nice, and take a lot of videos and pictures, and just to stand behind home plate. And I had to put the camera and the phone down for a couple innings because I was like, I really just want to watch and enjoy what Jack Leiter does in terms of work. And he was pumping 97 for the first 3 to 4 innings, and his curveball sat at 76. That is, if you're doing the math at home, that is a 21 mile an hour difference. Absolutely insane. And it's got to be incredibly hard to hit. Georgia got one run off of him, but they struck out 13 times.
Yeah.
So, very difficult to hit. And I just remember I was down the left field line for the first pitch, and it hummed in at 97. And I was like, can I swear on this?
Yeah, fire away, dude.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that thing just, it got on you quick. Like there's I can never say that 97 is slow, but that one popped the mid and it like got your attention when it hit the mid. It's like, oh man, jeez.
Yeah, it's impressive. This guy's, yeah, you're the first person I've known to see him in person, obviously, and
Baby
so
Verlander.
that's who you compared him to. Okay,
Yeah,
just a
he's
little
like,
smaller stature.
yeah, he's small statured guy. He's got to be 5'9", 5'10", maybe. Jack, I'm sorry if you're listening to this and you're actually taller, but you looked a little bit smaller up on the mound. He's not as tall as his dad, but he's kind of short and compact, and I think that really helps his delivery a little bit. And for those old school baseball fans and NL East fans or just Mets fans, I know there's not a lot around these parts, but those
Yeah.
that know Tom Seaver and ever watched him pitch, my dad had a still shot picture of him in his delivery, and I can't do it right now because I'm in pain right now, so I can't actually show you, and there's not enough room in this little box that I'm in
Yeah,
to actually show you. But when he goes through his delivery and he goes and really pushes off that back leg, he almost, like, his knee would almost touch the ground. Jack's would. And Tom Seaver's, his always touched the ground. And it was so cool to see that still shot. It was like a Sports Illustrated magazine cover I think my dad had framed. And his knee was literally scraping the ground. Like, you just don't see that anymore. And it was cool to just get video of him, slow it down, kind of look at his mechanics. His mechanics are absolutely flawless. They say your stride length should be about 75% of your body length. I did a lot of work with pitching coaches and things like that when I used to work at a batting cage.
Okay.
And not a lot of pitchers you see really do that. But Jack's stride, and again, that's what allowed him to scrape the knee on the ground. His stride is absolutely insane. His mechanics looked awesome. And if he's not a top 5 pick, I don't know what these Major League Baseball teams are doing. Look, he's got the bloodlines. He's got the resume behind him at Vanderbilt, the best college baseball team in the country. You know, I just missed high-level college baseball because being in Louisiana and getting an opportunity to see LSU and to see the Raging Cajuns and Tulane and Louisiana Tech and all of these really good programs around that area, I missed that. And I got my college jersey right behind me here, just a little D3 flavor for you.
Oh, baby, spice it up.
Yeah, to
Plattsburgh's finest.
Get a little Tony Satchery's in there, seasoning wise. But yeah. Shout out to SUNY Plattsburgh, the Cardinals, man. That's it's just, I just love college baseball. You know, I wasn't really into it all that much when I lived up north in terms of growing up and watching it. Like you guys watch college football religiously and college baseball, some of us as well down here in the South. But I have really taken a loving to the college baseball game. It's a really fun experience. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know many of the kids going into the Vanderbilt game that I went to cover, but I really just wanted to see Jack Leiter pitch, and I was so excited that he pitched well. And, you know, I know Kumar Rocker got beat up on Thursday, but it was nice to see Jack Leiter pitch and pitch really, really well.
Yeah, man, he's coming. That whole team, that program's just phenomenal, and it's kind of sparked this thing in the SEC. I mean, obviously SEC baseball has been a thing, but right now it's, you know, top 5 are all SEC schools, and Tennessee's coming along. So now you're in this state.
2 out of 3 against the Gators, and we're going next week, baby.
I know, baby. Next Friday, we're going in, and I'm pumped. Yes, that was the reason I do want to get this on the pod, was because next week we're going to see that game, and I can't wait, man, because it's one of those things.
We're going to see Kumar Rocker pitch, unless they flip flop Leiter and Kumar, because
either way,
Kumar's been pitching the Friday night games, the first games of the series.
Well, and so it's one of those deals too where this is the first time I've seen Tennessee fans really get into it. I mean, there's multiple highlights. Like, I know it's the Gators. There's this huge rivalry thing that's just always going to be there in every sport. But to finally beat them in baseball like they have, it's impressive, man. And it's been fun to watch because Tennessee fans are getting into it. Now, that could be a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I have my ifs about the whole fan base. I love the Vols, love everything about it, but this could be something to get interested in. So they're getting into it. It's fun. It's really kind of buzzing around the state because you're like, holy crap, this is a baseball school.
Yeah.
It's always the knock. But I don't know, man. So I'm looking forward to this Friday, getting to see them in person. It's all been great coverage for them. Just hot, man. They look great. Both schools look great. The SEC is in a phenomenal state of baseball right now. So it'll be something good to watch. Do you want to talk about some NL East? We'll start with your boys up in New York. We'll get the Bravos here in a minute. DeGrom pitches a phenomenal game on Saturday and gets no run support again. Do you have confidence in your boys that will eventually turn around?
Absolutely. I mean, it's 162 games. It's not this weird 60-game sprint that we went on last year. It's things even out over 162 games. You know that. I know that.
Yep.
They've had plenty of opportunities with runners in scoring position. That's something they didn't do well last year in a short season. But again, I think over time, I mean, they had the highest batting average in all of baseball last year. I think the number one hitting offense, which is the first time I think the Mets have ever finished a season with the highest batting average as a team. But the runners in scoring position was atrocious. And it's just kind of seemed to kind of carry over. And it's just kind of, I think it's just bad luck. It's just baseball that's happening right now because Michael Conforto can't hit his way out of a paper bag at this point. They've dropped him down in the lineup. If I'm being honest and an objective Met fan, I really don't like the way that Luis Rojas has constructed the lineup. And I'm not a huge fan of what Major League Baseball has turned into. I get that you want to have your best players getting as many at-bats as possible. So that's why you put the best hitter in your lineup, number 2 instead of number 3, which when you and I grew up, that's where the best hitter hit.
Yeah.
He was the 3 hitter. You had your big, fat, power hitting first baseman or right fielder hitting 4th.
Always.
I mean, that was basically a given. And so it's just a little weird. I don't love Lindor hitting 2nd. I would like him to hit 3rd. And then you have Alonso hitting 4th, and then you could put Conforto 5th, and I think that would take some pressure off of him. Again, not saying that Conforto is not a good hitter, but Lindor is clearly you just paid him $380 million. Oh my
gosh, yeah.
I mean, for me, I want him hitting 3rd. You put McNeil in the 2-hole because he handles the bat really well. He's aggressive, and then Brandon Nimmo always just finds a way to get on base, and then of course the Polar Bear clean things up in the 4-hole. So I do have faith that they'll turn it around. I mean, DeGrom, he shouldn't be surprised at this point because they've never been able to get him run support whenever he's pitched here in New York. But he wants to be a Met for life, so I love him for that. And he's just so, again, along with Jack Leiter, he's just such a fun guy to watch, throw the baseball. And it's exceptional the way that he has gone from when he first got into the league around, I think it was 2013, 2014. He wasn't one of the more highly valued pitching prospects, and he was throwing about 94 miles an hour. And they showed a graphic, and I was watching the game the other day, where over the years, he's consistently thrown harder and harder and harder to where he's pumping it basically in the 6th inning at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
If I could just ask him if I could just ask him one question, I'd just be like, what did you do? You're a string freaking bean. How did you get yourself to throw 100 miles an hour consistently going into the 6th, 7th inning? I mean, it's remarkable, but I think they will eventually figure it out and get some runs.
Yeah, it's gonna work itself out. It's the first week, 2 weeks, I guess, and
I mean, they've only played 5 games.
Yeah, so a lot to work itself out. Right now, to give a timeline of where we're at, top of the 4th, Phillies and Bravo. It's 5-3. Philly just took the lead here, so we're not going to be able to finish this game. Shut your mouth. Let's talk.
I don't really care who wins that game. They beat each other up. I don't care.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like in conference, if you're not a fan, you're like, both of them lose. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, tie. Can we tie in baseball yet?
Oh yeah, that would not be a terrible rule. I actually heard this theory the other day. Side segue here. Theory: instead of doing the 12th inning, runner on base, last man out in second.
10th inning.
10th inning, yeah.
Yes.
Let's say, I'm sorry, let me start this correctly. 10th inning, you do that. But by the 12th inning, if it's not happened and we're still at a tie, why keep playing? Let's just count a tie. Would you just to call it?
No.
Why? Just because why would you keep
that?
Why would you just keep going?
The game. Tying is like kissing your sister. There should be no ties.
There should be no ties in
any
baseball.
Sports. Any sports. Football, soccer, tennis, curling, croquet, badminton. I don't give a shit of what sport it is. There should be absolutely no tying in any sporting event. That just basically defeats the purpose of playing the game. You play to win the game, as Herm Edwards once famously said.
Ah, the great Herm. Yeah, I was just wondering that because
K-State.
I was listening to Bill Simmons the other day, and he was like, "I think that's when they should cut it off." And I was like,
What a dummy.
it doesn't seem right because that's always a thing in mind in football. It's like, why are we just I don't know, keep doing overtimes.
You know what I suggested the other day on my show? Well, this was a couple of Fridays ago. We suggested this. I talked about, the NFL was talking about some rule changes, and
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about the overtime rule, and that's one rule that I would like to see changed. Whether
Yep.
it's going to more of a college style where everybody gets a chance to possess the ball and you can kind of just go back and forth with that, or at least allow the other team, if one team scores a touchdown, allow the other team to say, hey, look, you have to come back and match that now. You have
Yeah.
to go the entire length of the field, So my suggestion was, look, if we're tied after 10 minutes of NFL game, what you do is you do something of a shootout in hockey. What you do is you take your quarterback and you take your best wide receiver against their best cornerback, and you go 5 snaps. They got to complete a pass for 10, 15 yards. You see what you can do.
That's very XFL-ish, but I don't hate it. Man, gosh, Calvin Johnson would come back. He'd be like, "That's all I want to be signed for." That's it.
Just make me the overtime player, the X factor.
Yeah, $10 million. I'll come back. There you go, Megatron.
Yeah.
All right, we're going back to the MLB. Going back to the NL East. All right, Phillies. I got some good questions from my boys in my group text. Shout out to Craig Story, Evan Chill Meadows, and JJ Hill. So they wanted to ask, will the Phillies superstar bring the wins, or will the bullpen sink them like they did last year?
And by superstar, you mean Bryce Harper?
Yeah, superstars.
The most overrated player in baseball history?
Oh, that guy. That's the
Yes.
okay.
That's the guy that we're talking about.
That's
correct?
the superstar I was talking about. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. No, I don't believe that the Phillies bullpen will sink them like they did again last year. I mean, you've already seen early in the season that this team has put a lot of stock into revamping that bullpen because that bullpen was dog poop last year.
Yeah.
It cost them so many games. They had, I think, the second most leads going into like late inning games last season. Again, short season. Then they were second only behind the Dodgers, and they barely, they weren't even like 500 last year, or were right around that. They bring in guys like Jose Alvarado, Archie Bradley. I know he's on the DL right now. Connor Brogdon is there. Brandon Kinsler, that's Bryce Harper's guy. They wanted him in there because they were on the same team with the Nationals. And then Hector Neris, you give him another chance, which I'm a little surprised that they're giving him another chance as a closer. But they've done a really good job at bringing in different guys to really help shape and reshape that bullpen. So I don't hate what the Phillies have done there. I think they're going to – I picked them to finish third in the division. I believe it was third in the division. I'd have to go back and check my notes. But yeah, so I'm glad that they've revamped the bullpen. If you want to let me go back in my notes and see where I have that, but keep going. So I think the bullpen is going to be okay.
Yeah, and they're sitting at average right now. Like they're definitely like right in the middle of the pack at like a 3.9 ERA. So they're solid, and that's mostly what you need from this Phillies team right now is just for them to be solid. And you can make these guys get some, I mean, obviously they've got the bats, and hopefully this score turns around.
Do they have the bats?
Well, it looks like they have it against the Bravos. So,
well, I mean, yeah, a blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while.
That's true.
I don't love their bats. I don't think they have as strong of a lineup as the Braves or the Mets do.
No, that's definitely true.
They have a more consistent. I think they have a lengthier lineup than say like the Nationals. I think the Nationals are just very top heavy when it comes to their lineup. They don't have a lot of length to their lineup, but I think the Phillies have some nice length to their lineup.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, because I mean, obviously McCutcheon's not what he used to be and things like that, but you still can come through in moments.
I mean, Harper, Real Muto, Hoskins, Segura, McCutcheon, Didi DeGlorius, or Gregorius, whatever you want to call him. They have a deep lineup.
Yeah.
They have a deep lineup.
Yep. We'll touch on the Marlins. Do you think they have any chance of being the sneaky team like they were last year? And I know this is not quite the expanded playoff picture it was last year, but zero chance.
Yeah, to me, I'm finishing them fifth in the NL East. I just again, I think the cream is going to rise to the top over 162 games. They don't have the short sprint to just get hot at the right time and make a run and get in these with these expanded playoffs and whatnot. They're just a very young team, and I don't think their lineup is very deep. I mean, Starling Marte is great. I really like him as a player and an outfielder and whatnot. But Jesus Aguilar is really hit or miss. He's kind of that Adam Dunn type of first baseman.
Former
Anderson
Chattanooga lookout.
was he?
Yeah, Dunn was here
okay.
when he came to the Reds. Yeah,
nice. Dickerson is there. Rojas, Anderson. They have some decent guys within their lineup, but their pitching is very young. And I was listening to the Mets broadcast when they were playing the Marlins the other day, and they were talking about the Marlins, and they said Don Mattingly is going to live and die with his Don Mattingly and Derek Jeter are going to live and die with their young starting pitcher. Sixto Sanchez is out, I think, at this moment. So they're going to live and die with their young starting pitching. And they don't really have a very strong bullpen either. They have some decent young arms, but again, just not the strongest team. And again, over 162, I just don't see them surprising anybody.
Yeah. It's just such a long season. And that compact season last year, that was a year for people to kind of rise up and make some runs and, catch people off guard. And it's going to be weird with the hopefully the COVID protocol. Obviously, what you had with the Nationals early on was a little fluky. Hopefully that kind of chills itself out because you've seen it with the NBA. It figures itself out. It works. You can adjust. And especially with these big, long seasons, it makes it way easier. If the NFL can do it on Tuesday Night Football, baseball can easily do it.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday football. We had it on every single day of the week last year.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. Expect that Tuesday night Titans game. Shout out to Parkway Pourhouse. That was a freaking great.
Did you freeze? Did I freeze?
Great time. Ooh.
Did you freeze?
Yeah.
You froze there for a second, but we're back.
All right, we're good. Okay. So probably the best league top to bottom right now. From what some people say. Braves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better divisions. I think it's the most balanced division in all of baseball. I think there's the most competition. I would almost have to say probably the American League East and the NL East. I think the American League East, they have those two teams at the bottom who kind of suck with the Red Sox and the Orioles. But those top three teams, I think, are all good. They're going to be right there to the very end. And the NL East is very up and down. I don't know what the Nationals are going to do this year. Again, the Phillies are improved. The Mets should be improved with Francisco Lindor. If you want to transition right into the Braves right now,
that's what we're doing.
To me, I don't think they did a whole lot this offseason to really improve upon what they were last year. And I understand that they were one game away from going to the World Series, and that was very impressive. And if you're going to lose, a series, throw it down 3-1, it might as well be against the eventual champs in the Dodgers. Yes, it's very sad. I'm sorry to continue to bring that up for you.
But I love Mookie Betts. I actually got to meet that guy and play pickup ball with him. Also, he is
baseball or basketball?
Basketball.
You played pickup basketball against Mookie Betts?
Yeah, side story. Here's a fun one.
Okay, cousin Draymond, lay it on me.
Yeah, so shout out to Mookie who has no idea who I am. That's okay. We played basketball. He was nice. He knows everybody in town.
He will.
So he used to come play Saturday mornings at the YMCA in Nashville, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. basketball. Great pickup, by the way. Former guys from, all the colleges around Nashville and a bunch of good athletes. And then there was some of them.
There was you.
And there was me. And there was just lowly old me. Usually the worst guy on the court. But I never thought it was terrible.
I'm sure you're good.
And but I had a group that I always played with, and they were a bunch of older guys, and then they were friends with Mookie. And so this was when Mookie's first year. And so I'd seen Mookie like in the fall. And I was like, okay, that guy was really good. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who he was.
You didn't know who Mookie Betts was?
I did not know who he was because I just did not I'm a terrible morning person. I had no. I'm just there. I was like, oh, this guy's a really good athlete. Who's this guy? He can ball. I was like, no, I bet he play. I was like, I bet he plays like Division II or maybe small D1 somewhere. Like he's that kind of good a basketball player.
Yeah.
So Mookie comes in there, he's hooping it up, and then plays a couple weeks, and I don't see him for a while. He comes back, and I was like, oh, hey guys, where's Mookie been? You know, he's.
So wait, you knew his name and you didn't know who he was?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is an embarrassing story for you.
I know this is terrible. Dude, this was bad. And so he's hooping it up, and they're like, they're laughing at me, and they're like, I was like, where's he been? Is he playing college ball somewhere? I don't know. Like what? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, he's like, play college. Are you kidding me? And I was like, I don't know. Sure. And he's like, dude, he's playing outfield for the Red Sox this year. I was like, oh. And this was whenever he got moved up. This was that very first year. And I was like, oh, sweet.
Oh, that's Mookie
that guy.
Bet. Oh.
And then I was like, man, this is really all coming together now. Because it just wasn't
this
a
is
big
before he became big.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's okay.
But it was okay, but also he was the one. But the reason I knew him from that was because I had friends that were very upset because he's going to sign with Tennessee. But why would you want to do that whenever you're going to make absolute bank? So yeah, he wasn't the Mookie Betts yet.
Yeah.
But he was.
That's not.
It's not as. But no, definitely not that bad, but still pretty tough. So that was that story, and he was an absolute stud. And from now, obviously now people know about the bowling skills, and that was a big reason he would come back and hang out with those guys because they were on a bowling team together or something.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a cool thing.
Wasn't to come back and play basketball with you?
No, sure was not. Maybe some of the other guys that were really good. But
cousin Draymond, you're dishing out dimes. He probably loved you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I would guard like the big guy, and that's why I think I actually have the worst plus minus in Nashville Sports League history. I would like to say, because I
keep that stat. We should go look that up.
If I had an anecdotal stat, that's probably it. Like if I was looking around, you're like, oh man, you played some really good defense. Chase only had 45. So it's like, oh, sweet, man. Love guarding the 6'6" super athletic guy that used to play at Belmont. Yes. That's always fun.
Yes, that is a good time.
Yeah. But back to the Bravos. Yeah. So, I mean, the reason they've kind of won is they just win these division games. I mean, do you see anybody else that's going to take that kind of crown to just you flat out just beat the division throughout the whole year?
No, I mean, I think this division is just way too good. I think there's going to be a lot of parity this year in this division.
Mm-hmm.
It might come down to whoever can beat the Marlins the most, to be honest with you.
That's
whoever can beat the Marlins the most will probably win this division.
Wow. I saw a stat today that the NL East is not, they've only finished above 500 as a total league one time, and that was like 2005. So this could be a good year for that to happen.
Yeah, it could be. I think a lot of teams are going to have pretty good years, and obviously if the older pitching for the Nationals can stay healthy and the Phillies bullpen can come through the way that they need to, and the lack of bullpen can pick up for the Braves and for the Mets.
Yeah.
The Mets have some big names out there, but they haven't performed like big names. And for the Braves, they've had some little known guys, but they've had guys that have kind of outperformed their names, if you will.
Yep.
And I think that going into this year, they have lost some of their bullpen. But Alex Anthopoulos is one of the best general managers in all of baseball. So what I'm assuming is that if by the trade deadline, they're going to, with not the expanded playoffs, they're going to pick off a reliever like maybe like a Jake McGee on the Giants or something like that, or a Rex Brothers on Chicago or something along those lines. Pick them off of one of these non-contending teams at the trade deadline, grab them and insert them into the bullpen. So while the bullpen coming into the season is a bit of a weakness, I think, for the Braves, I think eventually it will round back into form. And I got to be honest, I'm a big Nate Jones guy. I'm rooting hard for Nate Jones. I love the 36-year-old comeback story. And, and whatnot. I was glad that he pitched well in spring, that he made the team out of spring training, and I hope he pitches well for the entirety of the year and stays there and stays healthy, because he was good back in the day, and I hope he kind of can rekindle some of that magic here as he's kind of on the back half of the back nine of his career.
Yeah, one for the old guys, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
There's gonna be a lot of dads in the stands that are gonna be his fan.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm not even a Braves fan, but I'm a big, Nate Jones fan.
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah,
well, dude, I appreciate you coming on. I can't wait for next Friday.
No more questions on the NL East?
No, man. We gotta cut her through.
Yeah.
I got time to feel her, man. So
I understand. Well, Chase, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you, and
pleasure.
I can't wait to have you back on my show. Again, you can listen on ESPN 105.1 The Zone, 12 to 2 every single weekday, unless the Braves are playing during the day, which is happening this Thursday. So you won't hear me this Thursday, but I'm on every other day, and we'll have some fun, and we'll take your calls, and just jump in and follow me, as you can see right down here at the bottom of the screen, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even if you want to jump.
Oh, he's a TikToker, people.
Yes, I haven't done any of those crazy dances yet, but
wait, six to 8 months.
Once the new bat gets here, we might start breaking it down a little bit and getting on the TikTok.
Don't hurt yourself. Okay. All right, this man's gonna cut some rugs in 6 to 8 months. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good summer here in Chattanooga with my boy. Glad he's here. Louisiana, I'm sure misses you, but we got you now. So appreciate you, Greg. Have a good one, bro. Chase.